everybody. I am so lucky today. I have Mr. Kyle Hunter here with me. He's nice enough to come in and let us talk him up, hear about his life and his work. So we're just going to get right in. Thank you so much first and foremost for coming on.
Thanks for having me, brother.
And he's got a show over here right next to it at the Rustic Hut, so we're really lucky to grab him before he gets to go and do that.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just get right into it. We want to know about you, so can we know maybe a bit about your life before you got up to music? What kind of led up to that point?
Oh, man. Shoot. Yeah, I was like 7. Well, my whole life, a lot of road trips with my dad, and music was always playing. Whatever we were doing, we hardly watched TV or anything like that. If we did watch TV, it was concert VHS tapes.
Okay,
so, Sade or like Song Remains the Same, Led Zeppelin would be on or something, but always music was playing. And then Dad just always had all these like Skinner vinyl and all this stuff. And I thought the guitar was just so cool and all those tunes. And I was like, I want to, and like Stevie Ray Vaughan even. Was
Speaking
kind of
the
like
language.
One of the big, he was like one of the biggest influences for me. So I was like, and my dad had an old 1982 Gibson Les Paul Custom. It was like the Black Beauty. The thing was beautiful. And
was he's a player then?
No, he was a luthier.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He built banjos and guitars. He worked for like Greg Deering for some time.
That is amazing.
And Bob Taylor for a little while.
No way.
Oh yeah, he was like one of the first 3 employees or something at
So
Taylor Guitars.
cool.
Crazy down in San Diego.
Right.
He grew up in this little ranch town outside of San Diego, a little bit called Ramona, California, which is a little border town there in the hill country there. So grew up on horses, listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was a great time. But yeah, I picked up that guitar and I kept holding it the wrong way.
Right.
And I wanted to get good at it. And eventually he bought me a Mexican Stratocaster on eBay, and then I devoted like the next 6 years of my life to playing it in my room really terribly.
Nice.
And then,
what age did you get that guitar?
I think I was like 7 or 8.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then just kind of I've had I had like a Esteban acoustic or something, and something some Christmas present. But it was I think just that amount of time sitting in my room when I was a kid, like. I lived in it, and then we moved to like really rural Montana when I was 6 or 7. So right around after we moved there, I got my first guitar, and then there weren't a lot to do. We were like 20 miles each way to any town up in Thompson Falls. So I lived like in between Thompson Falls and Plains, Montana.
Okay.
And went to school with Tanner Laws.
I was just going to say, you must know Tanner.
I know Tanner, yep. His dad was like my football coach and algebra teacher in high school and basketball coach. And Tanner's a little younger than me, but I know his older brother and went to school with his older brother and stuff. But yeah, so there weren't much to do, so I just started playing guitar and
there
sports,
must be something in the darn water up there between you guys.
There must be, I don't know. Mercury.
Making the voice is just amazing. Holy crap. That is insane.
Yeah.
So when did you go from, this influence and you've got some instruments and you're learning, when did you come to that point in your life when you were, this is what I want to do, this is the path I want to journey down?
COVID.
Oh, you're kidding me. It was COVID.
Well, so I was in the Navy. I joined when I was like 17, and then I didn't really play much guitar at all for like 5 years, maybe like pick it up here and there. And then right at the end of my career, I started playing guitar for this guy from Georgia. I went on tour with him for a little bit on the East Coast.
Wow.
And, the first show, I was so nervous. I was like, but after the first song, we didn't get booed off stage. So I was like, oh, we got this. And I've never been nervous since.
That's amazing.
Because I was like, oh, well, we didn't get booed. So
what an introduction.
But him and I ended up having a falling out. And I was like, well, I've been singing background vocals on this, and I know all these songs now. And so I was like, maybe I'll just, because I wanted to keep playing. Mm-hmm. I wanted to keep performing. So I was like, I'll just do it myself. And then moved back to Montana, like right before COVID hit. And I was living down in Texas on the railroad, working like railroad construction and stuff. And then it was pretty crazy. But then I moved back to Montana, and then COVID hit, and then so I got laid off from my job that I had, and then I sat there and kind of honed my craft. I had all this time to play guitar and teach myself how to sing and perform more, and 2021 was like my first like legit full, 3-hour show here
was that at?
actually at the Rustic
You're
Hut.
kidding me. Wow,
No,
full circle.
yeah, this is 2021, so almost, like pretty much 3 years or plus more. But I went in there, I played an open mic because I was just like, I just want to go out and play, and that's kind of how you get started. You just hit open mics, and that's what I did in Virginia and Texas. If I wanted a gig, I would just play open mics, and then you meet people.
Right, get that community, that connection going.
Yeah, or some guys in the crowd, and he's like, "Hey, I throw a party every year on my property, and would you like to play?" And then you just kind of
so cool.
Things like that happen. But yeah, so then the Hut was like, "Oh well, like, would you want to play like a full show here?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it ended up being it hasn't slowed down since, really,
right?
And it's kind of
continuing to go.
Yeah, and we want it to keep growing and gaining traction, of course. But
so, were you doing solo shows then in the beginning? And
just a guitar and a microphone.
So cool.
Yeah, and I still do that pretty often. But
so, what percentage would you say that you do live, like band, full band, versus solo shows now?
Probably. I want to say it's like 80-20. I do like 80% full band and then 20% solo, which means I'm booking less also, because I only want to bring my band to a venue that we will play anywhere that will have us, with a good stage, but we want to play somewhere that has a house PA, a lighting rig. We want an engineer,
do it justice.
Have a sound tech running sound for us.
Exactly,
so we just show up and play our music, and hopefully the bar makes money and we can too.
Of course. But anything else, you've got that solo show and the
and I just love honky tonking around, man. I'll play any bar, man. I'll take a little PA somewhere and like the Sawmill in Derby and get rowdy on a Saturday night, if we ain't booked. But
right.
Yeah.
So you're doing these solo shows. You step out. You finally get a full show at the Rustic Hut. When did you take that leap into doing your first recording? I know you've got a number of singles out. So.
Okay, yeah, that was probably right at the end of 2021. I went to the Vault in Missoula.
They're fantastic.
Had this song I had written. I didn't really know what I was doing. It's called "Burn This Town." It was like my first thing I ever put out, and it turned out pretty good. Respectively, critiquing my own music, but I think that was just the first attempt at cutting a song, and I had a good studio drummer, like a session guy, come in and lay drums on it. But I did the rest myself. I did bass, guitar.
Oh, wow. You did fantastic.
Vocals. Yeah,
and we'll have all this stuff linked below. If this YouTube podcast, it's all there. You can go and listen to it. You can hear the growth in all the songs. But you started out really good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I didn't. Well, see, I've always been kind of a perfectionist in that way. I don't want to put anything out that I'm not like proud of.
Right.
And I think like if I look back in 10 years, I won't be like, oh, wow, that sucks. I want it to stand the test of time and be like, okay, it's still a good tune, respectively. And it grows too. If you hear us play "Burn This Town" at the Rustic Hut tonight, it would be completely different from what the record is.
Right. So the whole the song itself has grown over the time, and then
just as I have,
I
make different vocal choices. I make different innuendo, chord changes or whatever. But it's still a tune that I like, But,
so cool. Like I said, take your time, go take a listen to that music. It's fantastic.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
How about your newest one that you just released here pretty recently? I think it's "Waiting on You." Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, it's a great one.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it.
What was the process like that? Was it different from that first one in the Vault? What has changed between those that has made, has the studio become easier?
The studio's become easier. I think that just the experience of like playing and performing and singing a lot more. I've learned how to like control my voice, and hit notes, and that. "Waiting on You" is definitely a vocally reaching song. It's got a lot of falsetto.
Oh, it does, but it hits. It's so good.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Yeah, it's I think just like the confidence level all around is what makes that track. I think, and I had my whole band that I tour with. They're all my friends, and then the producer, the engineer, Brandon Zimmer, huge shout out to him, crushed it on all the tracks that we've released in the past year till now, have come from his studio.
I do not know him, but he is doing an amazing job.
He's good. Yeah, he's the live engineer at Monks there in Missoula, and he works for a ton of different entities, and he's the man.
He's got his hand in all the pots.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, and having him there, I was like, that just helped that alone is like you can't really fail.
Right.
But it's the team behind it and the musicianship. Like all the guys I have are just so. I'm like so lucky, dude.
Right.
Sometimes I'll be on stage even and like I'll be kind of sitting back playing a little rhythm guitar and I'll just like realize what is going on around me and all these guys are just crushing.
Right.
And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like I can't believe that they're like supporting my songs and my voice, like and like doing the thing with me. But I think that's what's changed, and I think we gel together musically really well, and I think we know the message of the song and what we want to deliver.
Right. Just having that whole cohesive like team behind that. That's so rare, and that's what it's all about. But getting there, congratulations, keep it up, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not easy. It's hard to find guys, man.
It is. It really is the hardest part of being in a rural atmosphere like us.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about that. If you could we've just kind of done a broad overview of what you've accomplished and what you've been doing, all you've learned. What if you could sit down with your younger self, like a 16, 17-year-old version of Kyle? What would you tell him today? Like, hey, you're going to be on this journey. Here's what you need to prepare for. A younger version.
I would tell me to write more music.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
I still need to do that. Need to write more, but just be confident and trust the process. Trust yourself.
Very good.
Believe that good things will happen if you work hard for it. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Amen
scenario. And then if you have both of those things, right, then you're money ahead. But and then seek out people who are better than you. Try to get in rooms with people who are better than you.
Chef's kiss. Yes. Yes.
That's a good thing. I know I level up when I play with somebody who's significantly better than me. I'm like, I gotta figure it out here because I'm in a room that I don't really belong in. So I gotta belong in that room at some point. But that's probably what I would say is just seek out people who are better musicians.
Fantastic advice for anybody. Please, if whoever you are, absorb just a bit of that. If you're not at that level yet, could not have better advice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about then your vocal skills are amazing. Your voice is absolutely wonderful to listen to. But also, I went through your Instagram and I could see sometimes when you were just playing around with the guitar, playing some lead, you knew your scales, you knew how to get around.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you consider your best attribute as a musician at this point in your career? Is it your voice? Is it your guitar work? Is it your songwriting? What is it that you consider your strongest attribute?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's tough. Probably. I don't know. I think if I were to take out the frontman aspect and I was just playing guitar in a band, I think just my rhythm, I can hold rhythm real well on a guitar.
Foundation, that's so important. Yes.
I can improvise. I can play leads. I can hang and play some bluegrassy stuff or whatever, fast or slow, whatever. But I think probably just holding down a steady, groove to keep the song moving.
One heck of an answer. I don't think I've heard anybody say that. But my rhythm guitar playing, yes, that is so
it's
great.
Fundamental, right?
Right.
And you learn that from like playing solo gigs, right? You don't have a band that's backing you up, so you have to keep it moving and sing, which like that was the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't start singing till I was like 22 or 23, and that's not that long ago. But,
no, but it's tough. It really is.
Yeah, and like that was like I would sing in the shower, like in the car, going somewhere or whatever. But playing guitar and like learning tunes and then singing on top of them if you haven't done that before is like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's not chewing gum and walking. It's much more difficult than that. And also, then you have to add on top of that, you're on a stage. You got to put on a performance. So you have to be comfortable enough with doing both of those to be able to focus on putting on that show.
I think that might be like a good attribute too, that I've studied a lot of some people that I think are like some of the greatest performers of all time, and maybe with James Brown or Elvis, or that's like that stage presence thing. I think I've really honed in on a lot of that too, which helps. It adds to the show a bit, but I'm really active on stage. I spin around, I move, I dance, just kind of. That gets the crowd more engaged, and it feels more like a personal experience.
Oh my God, that's such a talent beyond words, honestly.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel silly doing it, of course, but it's fun. I'm just out there. At the end of the day, it's just fun, right? We just want to have fun.
Right. So you've been doing amazing things. I think you have, like I said, I think 4 or 5 singles out. What would you consider your biggest success to this point?
I think just being reached out to by legit venues and performing at like places like the Top Hat or the Rialto that we have coming up on the 29th there in Bozeman. Like, that's a pretty big milestone.
Yeah, it's huge.
I've always wanted to play. I've never really. It's kind of like a theater-esque setting. So we've never really played a theater. So that's a kind of a milestone. Getting 1,000 streams on a song. That's a small.
It seems small to
such a minuscule number,
huge.
but like
it's such a big milestone, though.
Yeah, and to see that happening like within within less than a month is pretty cool to me. And to be, I think honestly, just being respected by like my musical peers, like as a musician, that's all I really want out of it. That's kind of the biggest accomplishment, is to know guys on a national touring level that know who I am. They know I play music and they respect me as a musician, and vice versa. That's kind of a
wow.
Pretty cool
You have
feeling.
a very good head on your shoulders, man.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of people I meet in that situation, they're focusing on different things, but it's really what matters.
I just want to be a musician. I'm not worried about being on TV or whatever, man. I want to play music and be around musicians who are good. That's
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if that's your biggest success, and what has been your biggest struggle to date? What's something that you have to take on, and is always a problem for you?
Songwriting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Writing decent tunes. I mean, I do it every now and again, but struggle with like getting out of a writer's block quite a bit.
What's your process like? Is it you just have a guitar idea that leads you into it, or you have a vocal or some kind of lyrics that lead you into a song?
It varies. A lot of the songs that I do have released, they're all co-written, except for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
That Burn This Town was solely me, but yeah, co-writes are good, and I think the process for me is like coming up with an idea of a song. Like what are we talking about? What's the feeling? What are we? Or I'll just think of like a phrase. I'll just be like driving somewhere and I'll think of something and I'll be like, oh, and I jot it down into my notes really quick, and then I build off of that and try and make it make sense in a storyline. And then putting that to music is always the struggle, because it's like, how is this going to flow? And then once you get a good like melody and rhythm down, then you can add other elements. But it's definitely about just getting like a rhythm and a melody first, and then adding the lyrics later for me, I think. And then sometimes it just flows, man. I'll be playing something new, and then I can kind of just like ad-lib like a melody, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what words would make that melody, right? And I'm like, oh, whatever. And then that's just kind of how it could happen in 15 minutes, or it can take 5 years to write a song.
You just kind of know, you have that moment of like, yes, this is it.
Right.
This is right. This is the idea that's coming together.
Yeah. But it always changes too, every time I write is different. And sometimes songs write themselves, and sometimes they just take forever, and I don't know, but it always helps having a good songwriter with you co-writing.
Yeah.
Some people have it really down, and that's where I need to like get better at, but definitely it's a process.
And it sounds like you said, just like before, like always having finding somebody else that's a little better at something, finding a way to incorporate them.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yep. And always look for people who are better than you and stuff.
So we kind of covered all the good stuff, all the meaty stuff. Let's talk about you. What's coming up for you? Anything exciting?
Yeah, we're like I said, playing the Rialto on the 29th. We've got some festivals on the horizon for the summer. I'm excited for. There's one up in Lincoln, Montana.
Cool.
Just got word for it. Oh wait, yeah, in Lincoln, that's like I think a rock and roll festival. So we're gonna play a little more like rock than we normally would.
Oh, fun.
But that'll be cool. And then I think we're headlining that, so that'll be cool.
Oh, very
I'm excited
cool
for that.
Okay, other thing, all the links are below. Check out the dates. Be sure you catch them at some time early summer this summer. Don't miss it. Catch at least one show.
Yeah, please come out. Yeah, we always love new faces, and there is something in our shows for everyone. We play a super wide array of tunes from start to finish. There's Western swing, there's folk, there's funk, there's blues, there's rock, there's country, there's Americana, there's
Wow, really is something for everybody.
And,
wow.
and so if you don't like the first 3 songs, maybe
just wait a minute.
You might love the 4th
Have a
song.
drink, come back. And...
Yeah. And the more you drink, the better we sound.
Of course.
But that's what we're kind of looking forward to. We got some festivals. I'm kind of planning a move to Austin, Texas.
Oh, good for you.
In the fall.
Home of Stevie Ray.
Yeah, you got to go where your heroes are from, right? All my heroes wear cowboy hats,
right.
and that's where they're at. So.
Oh, fantastic. That's exciting.
Yeah, man. So,
well, what about, I know you just put out Waiting on You recently. Are you have any other songs coming out soon?
Yeah, we just got one more release that's scheduled for the beginning of summer, and that's called Lines on the Road.
Lines on the Road.
And it's a very, very special tune. Just got pedal steel laid down on that track, which is
sweet.
Exciting. Shout out to Cabot Metz out of Bozeman. That guy did a fantastic job laying steel on that. This dude's like a Berkeley guitar graduate. So yeah, he's not too bad.
Well, that's exciting. Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
Of course, if you follow us or follow Kyle, whatever one, make sure we'll have that as soon as it's out. We'll be promoting that. That's going to be amazing. So,
awesome.
Oh, anything else you'd like to say to the nice people? Or?
Oh yeah, cheers! Hey, if you've supported our music at all, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to have any feedback or support. Like, I can't say thank you enough. And if you haven't checked out the music yet, would really appreciate if you did. And if you don't want to, nobody's going to force you to. But,
well, I highly recommend it. Take a little time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again. Thanks for your time. Wonderful musician, wonderful music. It's Mr. Kyle Hunter. Thank him again.
Guys.
And we'll see you guys on that next one. Bye.
Cheers.